Today, I want to share with you my journey so far, how my stuttering has changed since I was a child up to now. During my childhood and my teen years, even though I used to stutter, that didn't impose a massive challenge for me because I felt I had it somewhat under control. It didn't impede me from achieving my goals, and it wasn't in the forefront of my attention. I think this is due to the fact that I grew up in a very encouraging environment in which I didn't get any negative responses from my family, from my mates at school or high school. So it's safe to say that I have somewhat a harmonious relationship with my stuttering. I did feel like I didn't speak like the rest of my peers, but that made me feel just different or special, but it didn't make me feel less or more than anyone else. During my childhood, my parents were concerned about my stuttering way more than I did. And they had me take various language therapies, which I gladly attended. But I must say that because I didn't really identify with the issue myself, I wasn't willing to put in the effort and the work to overcome stuttering because it wasn't a blocker in my life. It wasn't a big issue for me. I do thank them for trying to help me at that stage in my life, though. When I look back at my teen and my early childhood years, I don't think of stuttering being a big part of those memories. They're more, it wasn't just an issue for me at that point. Later in my life, as I grew up and I graduated from high school, as most of us, I was exposed to a whole new world. Come the university years, I met a lot of new people on daily basis, and I was exposed to a whole new world and a new set of experiences. At this point is when I started to detect that my stuttering was a bigger deal than what I thought, because it became more obvious and I started to get more negative reactions from the people I talked to and when I talked in class and so on and so forth. So this is the stage of my life when I think stuttering really started to affect me, and I started to feel shame and to reject my stuttering. One of the biggest mistakes I made is that I didn't want to acknowledge my problem. I just acted like it wasn't there, which when I look back, it was not a wise thing to do because it was obvious that I had a speech impediment. But because I didn't accept it myself, I wasn't willing to open up and to discuss it with other people and work on it myself. I wasn't fooling anybody but me. Well, when I look back to these years, it's safe to say that my recollections are tainted with stammering and stuttering incidents. One of the moments that I remember the most is in the year 2010, when the movie The King's Speech came out. That for me, I didn't want to know nothing about that film. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want my friends or my family to discuss it or to talk about it, because I was so in denial that I didn't even want to go there, right? And at that point, I didn't see that movie. It was not like, I think like 3 or 4 years ago, that I sat down myself alone and I watched the film. I didn't want to watch it with anyone else. But yeah, that's kind of shows how I felt at that point. Then in my late 20s, I decided it was time to do something about it. The first action I took is I purchased the book about accepting and living with stuttering. I still remember the shame and the guilt and a strange adrenaline that I felt when I got the book in my hands, because I felt like I was doing something illegal or something forbidden. That was how bad it was for me, right? And I didn't want anyone to know I owned that book, let alone to see me reading that book on the bus, at the park, anywhere. I used to read that only by myself when I knew there was no one around. The book was a good book. I wasn't at that point ready to soak in the content, but at least I think it helped me as a first step to see where I was and the many steps I had to take to get out of that zone. Then, well, at this point, I was 29, something like that. And I decided to sign up for a presential adult language therapy, in which I got the nice opportunity to share and to speak, I think for the first time in my life, so openly about stammering and stuttering with other people that had very similar experiences to me. So it was lifting and empowering to know that I wasn't alone, because that is how I felt for many years during my early adult years. That kind of therapy, it did have a beneficial impact in my life, but it didn't last long. Then a couple of years ago, online, I found Lee's book. And this was, I think, the second edition of the book. And I decided to acquire the audiobook version of that book. I must say that I binge listened to it because I felt I could identify with that, with the topics, the experiences, and the challenges that were exposed in the book. One of the parts that I remember the most is in one of the chapters that um, I had to take a self-assessment to get to know how severe my stuttering was. And of course, in my head, I used to think it was mild or that I was just an occasional stutterer. And I was surprised after that test that my case was a severe case. And I think that was a wake-up call that I really needed to do something about that to get out of um, that stuttering zone I was in. So a few months after that, I joined a speech and society course, and I started the coaching sessions with Javier, who I have to say, he has been an amazing guide and he has helped me a lot in improving my speech, even in ways I didn't consider it was possible to do so. So I really want to thank you, Javi, for all your time and your patience with me. And it was good to be able to speak to someone that had overcome the same issues as I did and to get guidance from someone that I knew that could understand me. Because I think that was when I look back at the speech therapies that I attended when I was a young child, I don't think that the people that I spoke to, they really understood what it was, right? So we talk more about mechanical solutions, right? But that doesn't really work for me, and I don't know if it has worked for any of you. But what I like during my time with Javi is that we worked on the mental aspect and the barriers that we set ourselves in front of us and how to take that step to break those. That is the part that I really like about the coaching. And well, after 1 year of speaking with Javi once a month or once every 3 weeks, I feel proud to say that I have become a PWSS, and that's why I'm sharing here with you today. And well, I not only enjoy talking more, but I feel more confident to do, for example, work presentations, to volunteer myself to talk, because I used to do that a lot when I was in high school. I was the kid that always raised his hand to read, the text that we had to read, or I used to participate in all the school activities because I love that, and I lost that for I think for 10 or more years of my life because I didn't want to expose myself. So it feels good to have gained that confidence back, to be able to be the person that raises his hand and asks questions and likes to talk. Also, the crutches have helped me to become a more eloquent and a better speaker because I know how to pause. I know I don't need to run and try to get the words out of my mouth as quickly as I can. And it has made me a better storyteller and a better listener, which are two things that I really enjoy doing and I do right now. As with many aspects of life, there is no shortcut for this. I think that one of the first things that I had to realize is I need to be consistent. I need to put the work and the effort in. And I need to do my self suggestions every day. I need to read out loud, and I need to make this part of my daily life because it would be great, right? If there was, this magic cure, like, yes, now I can be fluent and I can speak everywhere, right? We would all love that, but that's not the case. So that's what I want to share with you. It's never too late, and don't be afraid to take that step forward to break all the walls that our mind has set in front of us. Thank you so much.